What is up, my beautiful peaches? Today, we're going to talk through 5 signs that you might need a reverse diet. So, this is kind of like a checklist almost. 5 different signs that if you are checking this off and you're like, yep, that is me, then you very likely will need a reverse diet. Now, if you are listening to this episode, you probably do know what a reverse diet is, but just in case, to give you a quick little insight, reverse dieting is the process of slowly increasing your calorie intake to restore your metabolism so you can stop the chronic dieting, you can lose the weight, you can eat more without the weight gain initially and then lose the weight, and you can really heal your relationship with food, okay? Now, why the heck is reverse dieting so incredibly important for long-term fat loss and metabolism health? It's going to help you restore your hormonal balance, number one, but it's also going to prevent your weight regain after prolonged dieting. When you want to eat more food, it's going to support your energy levels, support your muscle growth, support your body recomp, and overall, honestly, just completely support your body getting back into a place that it really needs to be functioning at its absolute best, okay? Now, let's dive into the 5 signs that you might need a reverse diet. So, the first and foremost one is that you have been in a calorie deficit, a prolonged calorie deficit for a long time. This is an immediate yes, you need a reverse diet, like immediate yes, okay? If you have been dieting or eating at a low calorie intake for months, even years, this basically means that your metabolism has adapted to those lower calorie intakes. And it basically means that your body is actually, the goal of your body when it's eating less food is to conserve energy. So let me back up a little bit. So think about it this way. If your metabolism, your body needs 2,000 calories a day, or let's just actually for this example, well, it doesn't really matter. Say 2,000 calories a day, okay? And that's like what your body needs. And I also want to say it drives me absolutely crazy when you hear that like the average person needs 2,000 calories a day to or based off of 2,000 calories. And I'm like, that literally does not matter because literally every single human in the entire world is going to have a different metabolism, different point where they need to be, different, macros, different life. Everything is going to be so incredibly different. So sometimes you'll hear the generalize, oh, this is, based off of the average 2,000 calories that a person needs. And it's like, that's so inaccurate because everybody needs a different calorie intake. But anyway, the point here, let's just pretend for the sake of this example, you do need 2,000 calories to have your body functioning at its absolute best, but you have been eating 1,200 calories for the past 5 years, okay? This basically means that for the past 5 years, you have given yourself 800 calories less a day that your body needs, meaning you have slowly but surely been basically depleting your body and not giving your body the nutrients that it does need. So its reaction, because it has literally no idea whether you are doing this intentionally or you are stranded on a desert island and you're simply just not able to get enough food, it's going to go into energy conservation mode and basically survival mode. So it's going to down regulate so many of your body's functions and systems in order to adapt to that 1,200 calories. So it's basically moving the overall functioning down to that 1,200 calories, meaning you're not going to have as much energy as you used to. Your digestion's going to be off. Your libido is going to be lowered because your body is focusing on the main things that the vital things that you need, aka your heart beating, your breathing. It's going to be focusing on those and going to put aside the non-vital things like your libido, aka your sex drive, your energy, et cetera, okay? And your body is essentially becoming more efficient at conserving energy, but it's actually becoming less efficient at weight loss, and it's going to be harder for you to lose weight because your body's actually going to be in a place where it's going to hold on to what you have for dear life because it's actually in that survival mode, and it's like, okay, are we actually going to be getting food tomorrow? Oh, I don't know. Well, let's hold on to what we do have just in case we need to start using that and dipping into that, okay? It basically is going to push your body into an overall plateau. Now, something to note, if you did do a calorie deficit years ago, and you never reverse dieted after, okay? So let's say let's say 5 years ago, you did a 1,200 calorie deficit. You hit the point, you did your diets, you're like, I can't do this anymore, not for me. You stopped dieting, which yay, because dieting is the worst. However, the only minor thing that you did not do that you should have done was a reverse diet. So back at that point, 5 years ago, when you're eating 1,200 calories, you stopped dieting, okay? You might have seen some weight regain happen, okay? You're now eating at a higher intake, but your metabolism's still sitting at the 1,200 calorie place, okay? You essentially just started eating in a surplus compared to where your metabolism actually sat, which is that 1,200 calories, okay? So what I actually do suggest you doing in this case is still doing a reverse diet, but we'll simply, oh my gosh, I have hiccups. I am so sorry. But we'll start you in a little bit of a calorie deficit. So I actually have a process. Whenever I have a new BPM client. I do a full metabolism audit, macro audit. I get a huge amount of information because everything is so incredibly catered to you, and it should be catered to you because there's no human in the entire world that will have the same metabolism, same macro, same lifestyle, same diet history, all that good stuff, all the good stuff there. So I'll do a full metabolism and macro audit, because what we want to figure out, and I've also got this like floating piece of hair in my face, and I keep feeling it. It's like itching my nose, but I can't find it. There we go. I think I got it. What I really like to do is make sure that, number one, I'm getting a solid pulse on where exactly your metabolism is, your exact pinpoint of where your metabolism is, where it needs to be, and really start creating that roadmap for your reverse diet and calorie deficit. So very important to start there, okay? Now, number two, if you are consistently hungry and feeling that low energy, it is a sign that your hunger hormones are off, but also your body's not getting enough fuel to function properly, okay? When our metabolism is slowed down, it's actually and we're starting to have this, this massive energy, just this chronic energy, low energy. We're having this chronic like hunger craziness, whether we're feeling hungry literally all the time, or we're literally not eating a lot of food, but we're never feeling hungry. This is a sign that your hunger hormones have also been impacted by that chronic dieting, by that chronic restriction, okay? And it's actually your body. I call these the unseen receipts. So you go to the store, you buy your diet, just pretend like you buy a diet, which is 1,200 calorie deficit or whatever diet it is, whether that's carnivore, whether that's, keto, Noom, whatever the heck the diet is, or the weight loss pills, or whatever it may be. Okay. So you get that, you leave the checkout line, you've checked out, etc. You leave. Normally you get a big old receipt. Well, here you didn't get one. So the unseen receipt is all of those unseen effects of the slow metabolism caused by the diet. So it's literally your chronic energy, and in this case, the hunger hormones being out of whack, okay? They're not functioning properly. They don't have the fuel that they need, and so it's basically like if you have one gear and you have a bunch of gears around it. The gear in the middle is your metabolism. It has been affected by your dieting, so it starts slowing down. It needs a little bit of oil, but the problem here is because this one gear isn't working, all of the other gears around this main gear is going to stop working as well, so your energy is starting to get wonky. Your hunger hormones are starting to get wonky. You might lose your period. You are not seeing any fat loss happening. Your libido is off. Your digestion is off. All of these different pieces are now out of whack because that one main gear is also out of whack. And so you really need the reverse diet to help you basically like put oil on that gear, get it functioning at its absolute best, which is then going to get all of the gears around that main gear functioning at its absolute best as well. Okay. Now, this is a huge red flag if the energy balance, the hormonal balance is off. You might have some binge eating because you're either absolutely starving all the time or you'll restrict, and then you'll have, oh my gosh, I'm so incredibly hungry, and we'll have that binge. Something very interesting, actually, I recommend listening to podcast episode 84, Finding Balance, Unlearning Diet Culture and Breaking the Restrict Binge Cycles. I actually talk about the science behind binge eating. It's a lot more than just restriction and mentality. It's actually caused our brain will signal us to have a binge when it doesn't feel like it's getting enough food. So very, very interesting. Okay. Now, here's a third piece, and this one's super duper important because I think a lot of people, so let me talk about it. Okay. Super duper important. If you have been dieting And then you start to gain weight back, whether you have just decided to stop dieting, you're like, I cannot do this. You go start eating in a surplus and you gain weight back. Or, and this is kind of like a different topic, but if you are doing and I'm going to put this in air quotes because if you're gaining all this weight back during a reverse diet, it is not a reverse diet. It is not being done properly. You need to stop ASAP. Please send me a DM because we need to stop what you're doing now to stop any further weight regain. And we'll do a little bit of backtracking. We'll get you set up. We'll get you on the right path of a proper reverse diet so you can do it properly and not have all that weight regain, okay? Now, if you are experiencing weight gain after dieting, no matter the experience, okay, you need to do a proper reverse diet. And this one, I highly recommend reaching out to me because this one's very, very individualized per person. I mean, everything is very individualized per person, but when people are seeing this mass weight regain after a diet, it is very, very, very important and imperative for me to get the full background of everything that you have done. Maybe you're somebody, I've had actually a couple women who reached out to me who have been doing the just increases to their calories by 50 to 100, which is what we do not want to do. And they have been having this weight regain. I had somebody who was working with, this pains me, with a nutritionist who had them like bumping up their food so fast. It was supposed to be a quote unquote reverse diet. It was not. She gained like 40 pounds. And so we're now backtracking and she's doing phenomenal. She's actually only been in BPM for a few weeks. And I am so proud of her. She's seeing, we're killing it, basically. She is doing so well. So it's just really, really important. We really want to make sure that if you are having weight regain after you have been dieting, you got to reverse diet properly, okay? Number 4, if you have hit a weight loss plateau and you cannot break through that, I've talked to you a little bit about this in the first sign here that you need a reverse diet. But what's important here is if you are eating very few calories and you are not seeing progress happen, this is essentially your body saying, your body is not going to burn fat effectively at this point because it is in that survival mode. And I think so many people, they think like, okay, well, I am eating 1,200 calories. I'm just not low enough yet. Yet. Let me go down to 900 calories. And what they don't understand is the lower they push their calories, the more it's actually going to cause further metabolic damage, which then in turn promotes more weight regain. It in turn promotes more chronic energy loss, worse libido, worse digestion, like literally all of those gears around. If you're going to take your intake, let's say that your gear in the middle was very, 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 very slowly turning, like it should be going fast, but it's just like very slowly turning, and you're eating 1,200 calories, so all of the gears around it are affected by that. Then you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and eat 900 calories. You've basically just stopped that gear. Like you have just stopped that gear. So everything else around it is going to get even worse. Okay. And I really don't mean, as I'm saying this, I'm like, I don't know if I said that. I don't mean to kind of sound like a donut, and that sounds good to me. No, but I don't mean to scare you. I don't mean to fear monger. That's like, it makes me so frustrated when I see people like fear mongering out there. Cause I'm like, just quit. It's not worth it. No. Yes. You might be in a place where you need to reverse diet. No, you are not stuck where you are forever. You are fine. It is not the end of the world. It just means we need to kind of do a little bit of backtracking, a little bit of digging, figure out what's going on and get you going in the right direction, okay? Please do not panic. Please do not panic. If anything, this is your sign to take action, okay? Now, the last thing, I guess 5 here, I did a terrible job with actually sticking with my 5 points here because I literally talked about all of them during this whole entire thing, and I have them all broken up, but I'm just like, it's all, because our metabolism really does affect everything else, they really are all interconnected. So it's hard not to talk about one thing without talking about them all. So the last one here is that I have here is you're experiencing negative health effects. So poor sleep. Okay. So sleep wake cycle. If you're ever having a hard time falling asleep, staying asleep, when we're not eating enough carbs, this can actually affect our sleep wake cycle. Okay. Irregular periods. I have clients who will come to me who have been chronic dieting and they have lost their periods, and it is so much fun. We do a happy dance when they get their period back because it means their body, their hormones, everything is kind of getting back into line and feeling good. That gear is moving forward. Okay. Digestive issues. I kind of covered this one a little bit. This is actually one of the big ones that can regulate pretty quickly, to be honest with you. So it's more than just healing your metabolism. There are a few other different things that we really work on to make sure we're getting your digestion moving forward again, feeling good. So that's something that there's a couple different pieces that go into that, but it feels really good when you have great digestion. Obviously, no one likes to be bloated all the time. And if you experience actually constant stress and anxiety in your relationship with food, it really does. This one's not physical, but a lot of times this does correlate with a poor relationship, with a, diet mentality. A poor relationship with food due to the diet mentality. And it also does correlate with being in a calorie restriction. So that one's kind of like a roundabout, like if you are really struggling with your relationship with food, even if you are not eating 1,200 calories, maybe you are eating 2,000 calories, but you're really, really, really still, feeling restricted, or maybe you're, cutting out certain foods and you're not eating the foods that you love, you would actually still benefit from a reverse diet because it can help you get more food in there while working on getting the fun foods in and really focusing on healing that relationship with, the things that are normally considered off limit, like your carbs, your sugar, your fats, alcohol, all those things, which don't need to be off limit because we can enjoy those foods and still see results. Okay. So I hope this is helpful. I am so sorry that I ended up not doing like my actual points. Oh my gosh, words are becoming so hard right now. What is happening? I still have my husband and I'm recording a couple episodes right now before Christmas. This will actually be coming out after Christmas. But just got back from Italy. Christmas is next week as I'm recording this, and I'm recording a few of them to get ahead. And my words are just like not wording today, but I say that now and I'm thinking back about my past episodes and I'm like, words never word for me. Like that is just a day in my life and that's fine. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I think I was going to say something else and it's completely gone right now. So we're going to roll with it. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and I will see you in the next one. Bye, beautiful peach. Oh, one last thing. If you have not, go grab my free, I repeat, free training, my 3-step process to healing your metabolism for sustainable fat loss. It will be down below in the little notes. It is a chef's kiss. It is such a good training, my favorite training ever. So go grab that, take a listen, and learn more. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, beautiful peach.